What's going on, everybody? We're here. Chad's back. It's late. It's fine. We're ready to talk some football, get some picks out for everybody out there. Chad, welcome back. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling pretty good after we really took Lane Kiffin to the woodshed
Yes,
this
you
weekend. That was a lot of fun to watch.
I
For whatever
appreciate
reason, LSU just doesn't like to start off fast out of the gate.
Who
We
needs
have
it?
to be down by 2 touchdowns before we
Who
start
needs
playing. Every game is LSU minus 14, and then you just figure out what the score is going to be after that. It's like right out of the gate. It's crazy.
Who needs it? Listen. It's not how you start; it's how you finish, right, Chad?
Yeah, although if you start the way we started against Tennessee, you don't finish well either. So
Yeah.
it's not always a good recipe.
This is very true.
I will say though, like we're looking mighty nice after the wins that LSU has put together, and if you look at the one loss to Florida State early in the year,
I think you could scratch
comeback opportunity.
Entirely.
Yeah, a comeback opportunity that fell short on a missed PAT. That would have sent it into overtime. I wanted him to go for 2 at that moment, and this wasn't hindsight. I told you about this. My dad and I were talking about it while they were driving. We're like, if we score, would you go for 2 or do you kick the point? And I was like, I'm absolutely going for 2. You got the momentum. I don't know that I trust lining up at the 25-yard line, multiple times and all that stuff. So I wanted to go for 2. But anyway, then you look, they got dusted by Tennessee. But there were some weird things that happened early on in that game that got us way behind the 8 ball.
The muff punt, right? The muff punt.
Yeah, no, we muffed the opening kickoff.
Yes.
We fumbled the opening kickoff.
Yeah. All the momentum you had, no matter home or away,
matter anymore.
Doesn't matter. It just gets sucked away.
It's over. At that point, it's just like, it's that day. Okay, cool. All right, I'm gonna go get some more drinks, and I'm gonna be back in about 20 minutes.
Yeah,
that's how it was. But now you look at that, and it's like, okay, well, Tennessee might be one of the best teams in college football. So it's it could have been. We could have played better, but it's not the end of the world. So I'm liking the direction that that LSU is taking under Brian Kelly, and it's funny because after week 1. Notre Dame fans were talking all kind of shit because they didn't get blown out by Ohio State and we lost by 1 to Florida State. But now look at you. So I don't know. You want to start there? You want to start
right? Number 1 in the West. Number 1 in the West.
Well, we're tied for first in the West.
First in the West.
Yeah.
Listen.
So us in Alabama, we both lost to Tennessee. So
I would never
played them a little closer.
I would have thought that there's potential for the East participant in the SEC championship game to have a better record than the West participant. That never happens.
Yeah, it's rare. But I'll say this is kind of crazy. People have talked about it, not talent level wise. I don't think we're there to be able to beat Alabama. But Texas A&M almost beat this team.
And Texas does definitely not, in my opinion, Texas A&M does not have enough talent to beat Alabama, but they almost did.
Right. Texas almost beat this Alabama team, and that was with Bryce Young, And I don't know that Texas has.
Yeah. Sorry.
What's that? That was without Quinn Ewers for the second half of that game. Yeah. And so I don't know. Typically, this is not something that we do where we beat Alabama in a situation, when the season sets up like this does, talent level and who we've lost to and who we've beaten and all that sort of stuff. But I don't know. We never had Brian Kelly as the head coach, and I don't know what the trajectory is right now of this season. But all the criticism that I had for Brian Kelly not being able to beat top 10 teams and all that stuff. He's already 1-0 against the top 10 team he's 1-1 because they lost to Tennessee. But he's already better, has a better record at LSU against top 10 teams. Will Bama make the playoffs this year?
In one way or another, they will.
I predicted last year that Nick Saban had already won his last national championship, and thanks to you guys, I'm still right for now. I think I see they're going to have to lose again to not make it, and I would challenge anyone to tell me where that loss is. Unless it's in the SEC championship to you guys. That's the only place I see it.
Yeah. They've shown they have chinks in their armor. They've shown that, but as I've heard it, I forget whoever's coined this, but I always like to call it the playoff is the Alabama Invitational, and they will find a way to get them in there.
Yeah, they
But
will.
a two-loss Bama doesn't make it. But you're right. Where does the second loss come from? I guess we'll find out. But
Yeah.
I'm ready to talk about these picks. If you're ready,
I'll say this before we go on to that.
Mm-hmm.
Tennessee's not beating Alabama again. I'll just go out on a limb right now and say that.
Yeah, you have the perfect storm of being in Knoxville, the hype, the everything, the Bama.
Bryce Young being barely healthy enough to play.
Yeah, they're making mistakes at the right times.
Right.
Listen, but I think listen, even if they don't beat Bama again, that win will take them for the rest of their lives. So let's
for sure.
all those fans.
They still need $250,000 for goalposts though.
Yeah, those goalposts are not going to come back out of the river regardless if they lose again. So if they lose. So off the jump, a Saturday, this blows my mind. But I think that Franklin and the athletic department wised up because this is a noon game. It's at Penn State, but it's not the whiteout. They wised up. They picked a winnable game for the whiteout. Now, I will say that the year they upset Ohio State and it was the whiteout, that was not seen to be a winnable game. But I think that they are kind of Franklin and the
realistic about it.
It's being smart.
Yeah,
like a win against Minnesota under the lights. And I do like PJ Fleck, if we're being honest, as a coach.
Bro, it's a good squad.
He gets me fired up, dude. And I don't even know him. Good coach. But you can't have that. But right here, one of our Ohio State friends did provide some facts that Ohio State does not cover.
Shout out to Jeremiah. Yeah,
against Penn State, and I was like, is that true?
1-5, right?
1-4 in the last.
1-4 in the last 5. Yeah,
against the spread. Ohio State against Penn State. Now they've had varying numbers to compete, to go up against. You know what I mean? Like Ohio State always gets a generous number, like in the start, but it's still Penn State. It's still Ohio State. This is a Big Ten rivalry. Ohio State was minus 18.5, didn't cover. Minus 20 didn't cover. Minus 3.5 didn't cover. Minus 7 didn't cover. The only time they covered was minus 10.5, and that was at Penn State.
So what's the biggest spread that they failed to cover?
Minus 20.
Okay. So we've got a big spread that they failed to cover, and a bunch of really tight spreads that they still failed to cover.
Yeah, minus 3.5. Yeah, that was the whenever it's in Happy Valley, it's always interesting. Like the 2018 at Happy Valley, they only beat Penn State by 1.
Yeah.
So that's
So if I tell you I have this predictive model. We talked about it a couple of weeks ago. I wasn't ready to really unveil it or anything because here's the thing about it. It's kind of like the BCS formula back in the day,
Oh,
I can't release it until week 6. No, it's not built like that. I'm just saying the same rules apply.
Oh, no,
I can't release it. I can't release it week 1 because there's no data to populate it. So it's like if you're taking a what's that? Oh yeah,
you just love the stats, baby.
Yeah. So when you're doing any kind of statistical model that's based on the data that you're gathering in real time, you have nothing to go on until at the very least week 2.
Yeah.
And week 2 is it's meaningless because what my model does is it serves to compare relative schedule strength based on going through several iterations through a team's schedule and their opponent's schedules and their opponent's schedules and their opponent's schedules. And it goes all the way back like that so that there's no oh, look at that. Hawaii's 13-1. Oh, well, but who did they play? Well, yeah, but their opponents have a 700 winning percentage. Yeah, but who did their opponents play? This is Hawaii's schedule. You know, I don't want to hear about San Jose State and San Diego State and Fresno and what, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it goes back far enough that you eventually kind of clear out, and there's enough of that cross-pollination in college football. It's real easy in the NFL because they're all playing each other. But in college football with 133 teams, it's really hard or 132, 131, whatever it is. So anyway, taking that model, what we are entering into week 9 now for is that right? Are we going into week 9? Did we
Week
just
9 of college football.
Yeah, week 9 of college football. So we have 8 weeks in the books. Not everybody has 8 games. Most teams have 7. A few have 6. It doesn't. My model doesn't count any games against non-FBS schools because I'm not doing all the FBS schedules to figure out how strong those teams are.
You don't need that.
So those games just they don't count. They're not counted towards the model. Ohio State is favored by 6 points in my model. Now, if you want to know a little bit of how this model has performed, I've put it up against 2 weeks of results, and it is 57-45 against the spread. Now that doesn't sound like it's all that great, right? Because that number against the spread is just kind of all right. Well, I can do that pretty much by just picking close to 50-50. It's 56%. Yeah. But this is the first 2 weeks that it's actually been like remotely viable, and it's starting to build strength. And I'll tell you this: when you go to Power 5 games, I gotta find it. Where's my list where it shows? I think it's on this page. It's 15-7 against the spread for Power 5.
Okay.
So and that 57-45 number, that is 102 FBS games, including Toledo against Tulsa and all the
every single
BS games that nobody wants to try to make a decision on. This model is just it's churning out a number for every one of them. So and I've got Ohio State -6. So it does favor obviously Ohio State to win, but Penn State to cover. So I like that. There's a lot of signals pointing in that direction.
Yeah, I definitely do not see Penn State winning, but you cannot count out Happy Valley. Period. They've got they have freshman running backs now. They just Sean Clifford looks like he can make a decision for once. Penn State's defense is not bad. I think that Ohio State tends to sleepwalk, not to be disrespectful, but they're good enough where I feel like they tend to sleepwalk through most of their schedule till they get to Michigan. And then that's my
look. How many times have we seen it? They'll go and lose or almost lose to Illinois or something.
Yeah.
When Illinois ends up 5-6.
They'll lose to Oregon last year.
Yeah. Well, Oregon's Oregon's a prouder program. I'm talking about I have witnessed Ohio State lose to Iowa State or something. It's some weird how in the hell are you losing to one of these schools that you have no business losing to?
Yeah.
And so it would not surprise me at all if if a situation like this were to happen and you have a Penn State upset. Although I will say, I think OSU, they take Penn State a little more seriously than they would take if it was Purdue or something. I'd be maybe Purdue could sneak this one.
I agree. Maybe I shouldn't be giving them I shouldn't be bashing Penn State too much that scenario, but you know what I'm saying. They tend to sleepwalk. I feel like if you look at the Big Ten, it's Penn State, Ohio State, and Michigan, and then sometimes Wisconsin likes to show up. But other than that, you know what I mean. So
and Michigan State back in the day was okay for a little while, but it is that's how it is. It's
So I personally am taking Penn State plus the points here. I thought they had a good beat in Michigan, but Michigan just poured it on. You're in the big house on a beautiful day at noon. These things matter. I know, you and I, obviously we both look at the analytical side, the facts of the situation, but there is still emotion. Everybody's human. There's still things.
Turnovers happen. Penalties happen. Delay of games. We saw it this past week with the Syracuse Clemson game where a roughing the passer out of bounds gets called on one quarterback, doesn't get called on the other quarterback. All kind of weird stuff happens, and the home crowd tends to. Referees will never admit it, but it certainly plays a role.
They want to get out of there a lot. They want to get out of there.
Out of there alive. That's right. They don't like getting booed. So
I like that Penn State plus the points. Speaking of Syracuse, it's Cuse -2.5 against Notre Dame over under 48. Dude, Syracuse has made me a believer, so I hope they don't stop now. I think that for whatever reason, Notre Dame just didn't have it this year, and I feel like Notre Dame is too proud of a fan base, too proud of an organization to ever admit it, but I feel like they know in one way or another that they don't have it this year. You
Mm-hmm.
know, 4-3, Syracuse obviously 6-1, Notre Dame 3-4 against the spread. They are 2-0 as the underdog, but Syracuse is 4-1 as a favorite and 4-1 at home on the year against the spread. And I mean, Syracuse has proved themselves. Notre Dame
Mm-hmm.
has. We
Yeah.
talked about this. Syracuse has, for the first time in a while, it seems like in their program, has all the pieces you need. Whether obviously they're an ACC program, which but still they have all the pieces you need to have a winning team.
Yeah.
And I think Sean Tucker's a great running back, and like you said, you like Syracuse's quarterback as well.
Yeah, Schrader's a capable guy, and he's got Aronde Gadsden the third, I think. Although I didn't know that Aronde Gadsden original, the guy who played for the Dolphins, I didn't know he was a junior, but I guis he was. It's always funny to me. It's like, oh, that's Aronde Gadsden's son. What's his name? Aronde Gadsden the third. What? Like what wasn't he junior? I don't get it. Yeah. So, but anyway, anytime you have that kind of trio on offense, it's a really good setup, because what it allows you to do is you got a quarterback who can make plays, who can be trusted to make the right throws, make the right reads, make the right decisions. You've got a receiver who can create separation on third down and keep the offense on the field, keep the chains moving. You've got a running back who can positive yardage on first down and keep you ahead of the change, but also if you need it on 3rd and 2, 3rd and 1, maybe even a short 4th down, you can be a threat to run the ball, and they've got to honor that. You see that with like Michigan with Blake Corum. Like I don't know how many 4th and 1 runs he's broken for like 50 yards because they load up the line of scrimmage.
You need a yard, I'll give you 49 extra.
Right. As soon as he breaks the first line of defense, he's gone, because they're all loaded up right there, and their left side of their offensive line does a really good job of blocking. Well, not to talk about Michigan, but Notre Dame. What's a tough call for me about Notre Dame is this is the only part of it. There's still enough talent on that roster that they should be better than they are.
On a paper.
And at any point,
guys.
and at any point, that talent with the proper motivation can rise to that level in a good matchup and actually show up and make the game closer than it should be, and possibly even win it. However, what they also can do is they can become the dumpster fire that they have seemingly become this year, which is playing way below that potential. And what are
Marshall.
They're 4-3, losing to Marshall, losing to Stanford. Stanford's terrible.
Yeah,
they lost to Stanford. They were I think they were favored by like 10, 12, 14 points in that game. So what are you doing? So
Notre Dame was favored 16.5 and lost
16.5. You see, I knew it was over 10. I knew it was over 10.
Yeah.
So, but my point with that is that's what happens when you have a really talented roster that is underperforming, and there's all this. Brian Kelly left. You don't know how many of those kids are really bought in with Marcus Freeman. It's just it's a volatile situation, and so I don't know. Like maybe they could show up for this game. I kind of doubt it. I tend to think if I'm Notre Dame and I went to that school, if I'm these kids, that the talent that's still there that didn't jump ship and go with Brian Kelly or go somewhere else when he left, the talent that's still there, that's still in that roster, I think if it's USC, they're probably getting up for that one to go play. You know what I mean? That's one thing. Go into the Carrier Dome to play against Syracuse. I don't know. I don't know if they're up for it.
The Carrier Dome itself, in a way, in my silly little opinion, I think the Carrier Dome in itself is a factor for away teams. I just know playing sports under artificial lighting does it just it kind of fucks with your messes with your vision.
Yeah,
and it
does that too.
I don't know. You know what I mean? It just doesn't have the same feel. I don't know if Notre Dame put up in an indoor stadium at noon.
Yes, exactly. It's not an easy place to play for opponents, and not for all the normal reasons. It can get loud in there, but it is weird. It's kind of like, to me, it's the football equivalent of when they play Final Four games in these
Oh,
football stadiums,
yeah, and it's like
the background is way too far back.
yeah,
And the stadiums, the seats go flat sideways
yeah,
instead of straight up, and it's like
yeah,
you feel like you're out in the middle of a cornfield
yeah.
playing
Just you're like
basketball.
just a sea of people.
You're right.
Yeah,
So I think it's got that weird like vibe that's just off. And also like my model, back to that, just for a little confirmation bias, it favors Syracuse by 11 in this game.
I like
So
Syracuse here. This is a good number, especially against you. You can't count out Notre Dame, so I like this number where it's at for that. I like it under a field goal, just
yeah.
to play it safe with Notre Dame.
Mhm.
I like Syracuse and the points. You do
Yeah,
too.
so
It sounds
it's like a 38.5 to 17.5 spread or something
yeah.
like that is what, or no, 28.5 to 17.5.
Listen,
That's what I meant.
I feel like every year I find a team that just for some reason like I can latch on to and
Is it
just
Oklahoma
keep
State?
right. Oh, it's Oklahoma State, baby. I have no clue why. I was like, why they keep getting why are they the dog week after week in games
I don't
that
get it. And this one's
like
this one's in Manhattan.
this is in Manhattan, Kansas. Yes.
Okay, so that's a little tougher. I'm trying to find that. All right, 56.5 over. Okay. All right, so let me. All right, you go ahead and give your 2 cents while I'm gonna type it into my model here and see what we got.
My 2 cents is that Oklahoma State is excuse me, is 3-2 out of the last 5 straight up, as well as it looks like 2-3 out of the last 5 against the spread in this matchup. But OK State as an underdog is a perfect 3-0 against a spread, 5-2 against a spread of the last 10, and 2-0 away against the spread. They have been dogs at home, they have been dogs away, and have come away clean. You don't
Almost
doubt Mike
completely
Gundy,
clean.
huh?
Yeah, it's an almost completely clean. They got
Yeah,
one loss on the record, but it was close enough that
it was
they
close
beat the
enough.
spread. They beat the
Don't
spread.
doubt Mike Gundy.
Mhm.
Don't doubt because like I don't know if Vegas is like waiting for enough people to jump on Oklahoma State or but like and I keep waiting for that to happen, but I keep
Mhm.
taking Oklahoma State and it's working out. Like,
Yeah.
I just think that you cannot doubt this team. Just period. I know that Kansas State, like, what do they do? What do they do? They didn't they rush? Am I thinking that up? No, TCU rushed the field against Kansas State, which was stupid.
Yeah.
I
No,
think that
K
TCU
State
was a better
is,
team.
yeah, they just got the one kid, who's that running back? But he's a beast. He's a monster. What is his name?
I know you're
Deuce
talking
Vaughn.
about.
Deuce Vaughn. He's a dog.
Yeah,
Deuce Vaughn is legit. And they've got some big receivers. They've got some talent on that roster for sure. Don't they have the Martinez kid who was at
dude. Yeah, he was Nebraska. He's an Adrian
that
Martinez. I actually
Nebraska?
have seen
Yeah.
this kid in person. Funny enough, like
Yeah.
it was like at like a resort in Mexico. Weird
Oh,
thing,
really?
but
Okay.
like we were like, oh, that guy looks familiar. I don't think I've seen him on TV. And then like it's like, oh, he's transferring to
Yeah, there
Uh,
you go.
anyway, but yeah, like
So they've got some
legit.
talent, yeah, and they've got a solid defense. Although you wouldn't know it by the 38 points, the 28 straight that they gave up to TCU on Saturday night. But
Yeah,
I love that because I made money on it. I hammered the money line on TCU when they were down 28-10, and I banked. But so coming off of that, heartbreaking loss, because I think they really thought they had a chance and they were going to take control. Whoever won that game was taking control of the Big 12 at that point, because K-State would have only had one loss, and then that win would have propelled them, and then this game would have a lot more meaning. So you could possibly have a letdown again after that disappointment, where it just kind of like starts to snowball for them. My model has Oklahoma State favored by 4. Now, granted, this doesn't take into account home road, and Manhattan is a tough place to play. I'm gonna just right out admit that it is a 2:30 game, so it's not as bad as when it's a night game. I think most stadiums, the night atmosphere is just different.
it is different, 100%.
It's tougher. It's tougher no matter where you go. It's tougher. So I think this becomes a close to pick 'em type game, but I would take Okie State and the 1.5 because I think it suggests that they might win this game outright. So
yeah, I can also see this being a little higher scoring affair, given the power, like you said, given Martinez, given what Oklahoma State brings to the table. I could see it being on the higher side of things. I think I might stay away just to be safe, but I could see it being a more fun, a nice fun 2:30 game. But yeah, I think we're both, like I said, just so everybody knows, we both are not trying to agree. We both just the numbers are in front of us, and we like what we see.
Great minds think
I'm not
alike.
here. I'm not here to apologize for that. Anyway,
That's right. Moving right along.
going right down to Jacksonville. It's the world's
Hey.
largest outdoor cocktail party. Where probably they don't even call it out on TV anymore, which is stupid. Just like the Red River Shootout isn't the Red River Shootout anymore.
It's the Red River rivalry now.
Yeah.
It's so stupid.
So it's not the world's largest outdoor cocktail party. I forget what it's even. They made up some new name for it, but to me, and I'm sure that you also, world's largest outdoor cocktail
world's
party.
largest congregation of drunk white women. I don't know.
Yeah, Jack's Beach, is right down the street. It's like it's just prime time. Well, it used to be Gainesville, if I'm not mistaken. It used to be. No, it's always been Jacksonville.
No, it was in Jacksonville. It was always in Jacksonville. Yeah, it was always in Jacksonville.
But yeah, so things always get crazy here, in my opinion. This game always makes for who knows what could happen. So Georgia is 4-1. This is not my childhood does not feel this way, but Georgia's 4-1 is straight up out of the last 5. UGA is 4-1 ATS out of the last 5. We had a little boo-boo in 2020 against Florida, but I used it being the opposite, where it's just like I feel like Florida's like it's Urban Meyer, it's Tim Tebow, we have to be scared. Even Jeff Driscoll and Steve freaking Spurrier and just all these people who like Will Muschamp. Double agent, secret Muschamp, whatever, our guy. But just the years of Urban Meyer and just having to worry about that Florida Gators whenever this game would occur is just it feels weird for me now to not to be as scared. As a fan, I like our chances to win, but that number is too big in my opinion.
Yeah, it is. My model says 20, and I actually think it could be closer than that. But the even at the 20, I'm going to take the Florida plus the points. I think so. One of the things that's interesting about Florida is they're very streaky offensively. They can make some plays defensively, but they're generally going to be kind of team you can move the ball on and you can make plays and score points on them. But I don't know. Anthony Richardson has this way of like looking like dog shit for like a quarter and a half, and then just making 3 or 4 plays that you're just like, oh crap.
Yeah,
they're still here. He's still making plays, and we're still not done.
For us, it was last year. Last year for us, it was our defense. Obviously, it was very good. But the thing is that something had to spark it, and it had to build on itself throughout the game. Like if it wasn't given an opportunity, like it took longer. You know what I mean?
Oh, Richardson will give you your opportunities. Trust me.
Yeah. Last year, I think was Richardson a quarterback last year, or was it somebody else?
Oh, it was him, and then they had the other kid. I can't remember his last name. I remember
it was Nolan Smith. Picked them off, and that's what flipped it for us. It actually was a close game, and we picked them off like deep in their own territory, and that's what flipped it. So I know that we now defensively, I think that we can handle Florida, but it's about let's see what our offense can become. Obviously, that's always seems to be like our problem is getting that offense going, being consistent, Stetson making the right decisions. And just overall offensive production. I think that our defense can run with anybody still. Obviously, it's not the 15 first-round draft picks that we had last year, but I like us to win here, but I don't know if I like us to cover. But I don't bet.
I feel well. That's what I was going to say. Your 2 4-1 stats are the perfect way to call this. Florida will beat the spread. They're 4-1 against the spread in the last
Mhm.
5, and Georgia will win the game because they're 4-1 straight up in the last 5.
Yeah.
So the only thing we have to worry about is that 20% chance that those other two things hit, and
Yeah.
it
And
ends
if
up ugly.
anything, and when games for Georgia against a good opponent tend to be an underplay. That's
Okay.
just it's just what I've like I said, because it takes us longer to get going usually
Yeah.
with games like this, or sometimes you're playing Missouri. It could happen too, but
Yeah.
it just what I've noticed is Kirby's very deliberate about when we do things. It seems
Are
like
you saying this isn't a game to look at and play the old John Ryan method of, okay, if it's 3-0 at the end of the first quarter, hit the over because the over is probably down in the high 40s and it'll probably hit. You're saying no, that means it's that the under was the play before the flop and you didn't play it, so just take your lumps and keep it moving.
I think that this number now is a good underplay, but we
Mhm.
could see where it gets to because it takes us for some reason these games the gashes and the big plays happen late in these games for us.
Okay.
So see where that number gets to. I'm not saying the over is an official play either. I just say like
Yeah.
in big games we tend to go under unless it's a national championship.
Okay. Yeah.
Sticking the SEC, Tennessee versus Kentucky.
Yeah.
If you asked me this question maybe week 1, 2, I was like, 12-point underdog Kentucky. I like that to cover. I don't know how to is Will Levis back? I think
As far as I know, he is. He played last week.
but does it really matter?
Well, yeah. I mean, that's the bigger question is, can anybody besides Alabama keep pace with Tennessee? And I feel kind of like an idiot. And you called it like when we talked about this very early on. They were playing Pittsburgh. I think week 1 or week 2.
Yeah.
And I picked Pitt to win the game outright, and they went into overtime. So I was almost right, but I feel like I kind of escaped with one there because once Hendon Hooker got his shit together and this team started playing like they're capable of, shout out to Josh Heupel because he's got a little monster on his hands.
This is the same thing that I saw when we played you guys Joe Burrow's first year at LSU. It's okay, we got out of here with a win this time because this is new for them. Joe Burrow's the new quarterback at LSU. This is Hendon Hooker's now second year as the quarterback, and they're a more cohesive unit with better players involved. Like we saw early last year, like we stopped the bleeding early when they were able to just pour it on offensively. But like last year, like Tennessee, they threw the first punch in our game, and so like I don't know how to describe. You know what I'm saying? It's like we got away with it this year, but it's like I feel like we have to worry for next year. So like Tennessee's offense, I saw them being good this year. I think that's the biggest thing is their defense is also keeping up in a way. Obviously they didn't keep up too much with Alabama, but Alabama's Alabama. What does your model have with the Tennessee Vols? You seem very deep in thought.
14. So this number is a shade low. It's actually minus 13.7 is what it comes out to. So it suggests a 38-24, 38-25 final.
Yeah, the bets are actually split down the middle here, percentage-wise.
Yeah.
It's scary. Kentucky is that sneak 'em team. Like I think that Tennessee is not a team that sleepwalks. It's a team that takes everything serious. So they're gonna try to bury Kentucky if they can. I prefer for me for this one, I think is to stay away and just watch the Magic. If we're being honest, I think 62.5 could very well be. I don't know how to feel about that. Kentucky's 1-6 for the over this year. Tennessee is 5-0 for the over at home. Head to head, It's the overs hit twice out of the last 5. But the over was 57.5 last year, and it hit because Tennessee won 45-42.
Yeah. I don't know, man. So I like Tennessee, and I actually like them to beat this number. Playing at home, and I know that they had the big win against Alabama, and they kind of had a bye week this past week with was it Tennessee Martin?
Martin, I
Yeah,
think.
Tennessee Martin or something like that. They just blew the doors off of them.
Yeah,
So it was a de facto bye, right?
yeah, pretty much. Just keeping. But
So
it's the
let
fact
me look at who they
standpoint.
got coming up. Yeah, who's coming up on the schedule? 'Cause
Oh,
that's what
I don't
you
know.
guys. It's you guys. Oh shit. Okay.
Did you know
So
that?
this could be no, I didn't.
Oh
See,
yeah, we
look,
have.
man, I
Yeah,
don't pay attention to y'all's schedules like they do. Oh, and Kentucky's coming off a bye.
yeah, you didn't know that. We go Florida,
Mm,
Tennessee.
mm. Florida, Tennessee, and then
We go
yeah,
to
and so and Kentucky's coming off a bye week.
yeah.
So yeah, you could. This is interesting, and that's why like the model is informative, but it's just math. It's just it doesn't look at any of this other stuff. It doesn't take okay. Well, they're coming off a bye week, and who are they looking ahead to, and the emotions and all that
Tennessee
sort of
just
stuff.
had one of the greatest wins ever, and everybody's super
Right,
happy and
right. Coming
excited.
off of that, yeah, coming down off of that
You mean
euphoric
you don't have
high.
a number, a score for number of goalposts torn down per weekend?
No. Well, so that's not important to me so much as the fact that this game is sandwiched. The lucky thing for them is like if Tennessee had Alabama then this game then you guys without Tennessee Martin,
Yeah.
this game I would almost count this as a loss for them. Like I'd be like you know what, I'm definitely hitting the Kentucky money line on this one because the
Yeah.
number's so big and everything. But the fact that they had that week to just kind of like get through our shit doesn't stink. We just beat Alabama, and then they got to go blow the doors off of Tennessee Martin, even though it started off a little not slow, but it wasn't. They weren't just smoking them right
Keeps
out of
your
the
legs
gate.
warm, and it gets all
So
that hype out.
right. So I don't know, man. I think this could be.
I'm hoping Kentucky scores the first
want.
touchdown.
I'm thinking. Yeah, that's not a bad play. So if I'm playing this thing officially, I mean, my model's going to be it's whatever it is, and I have to count the record for how that works. But yeah, this is one where I would look at it and say, oh, okay. So if this game starts off kind of like last week with Tennessee Martin did, where it's like Tennessee scores, then they give up a long drive and give up a touchdown. To tie it up, and it's 7-7 halfway through the first quarter. I'm like, all right, now's the time. Let me hit the line's down to 11.5. Okay.
Yeah.
Or it's down to 10. What is it at 12.5 right now? Yeah. So it comes down to 10. Yeah, I'm taking that.
Yeah. I don't have a bet for a pre-flop. This is what I want to see what happens. I just want to kind of enjoy it.
Yeah.
I think the Georgia fan in me wants Kentucky to win. I think, but maybe not. Maybe
no, you definitely don't want that.
Tennessee
No, my experience has been. Let me explain. As someone who has lived through multiple national championships and not just one, I gotta get these shots off while I can. Right? Who knows how many y'all are gonna win in the next 5 years? So I gotta take my shots while I can. But no. So the worst thing that you could have happen in the SEC is that you're playing someone who's still in the division race with you the week after they just coughed up their first SEC loss.
Mm-hmm.
Because
really bad.
They're not going to slip up. They're not going to slip up against you.
Yeah.
They were already eyeballing your matchup, and if they lose to Kentucky, it's like you're going to get the do or die Tennessee Vols. Which you got to deal with the explosiveness in either direction of that, right? Like that could become a dumpster fire too, where you could have some turnovers and things like that help you guys out. But you could also have like Hendon Hooker throw for 500 yards and just light you up.
God, I hope not. They're coming to Athens. It's going to be interesting. Mm-hmm. We'll talk about that more next week.
So you want Tennessee to win this game, though? I'm just telling you.
Yeah, I do, and I, it's just like the fact it's kind of nice that it's the SEC East is having some variability for the first time in forever.
I'm enjoying it.
But yeah, for me personally, this game is I'm off of it for the pre-flop, and I'm hoping maybe Kentucky scores first, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, and I think that Heupel is good enough. He runs a disciplined enough ship that I think they're good to take care of this one and take care of that spread. So I'm actually kind of leaning to the minus 12.5 side of that. So I like this matchup though. I'm about to punch it into the model while you intro it for us.
Well, my feelings here is Michigan needs to pretty much go undefeated. Pretty much. Right? That's their path, unfortunately. And they did lose to Michigan State last year. And this is in Ann Arbor at a night game in the Big House. 23 is massive. However, Michigan, Michigan, Michigan in the past has covered 13.5, 7.5. Now Michigan State has covered plus 13, plus 21, and plus 4. So actually, Michigan at ATS against the spread, Michigan State is 3-2 in the last 5. It actually 3-2 straight up.
That's crazy. All right, so you know what that means?
Freaking sense.
That means that where's that money line? Let me see. Is it like plus 400, plus 500,
plus 1,200?
Is it plus 1,200
on FanDuel?
Oh hell yes, I'm hitting that all day, baby. Like
let me double check.
I remember the famous punt game.
Oh, dude, me too, bro.
I mean, like this is easy money.
Do you think that Michigan and Harbaugh caught this up, like legitimately, like, or do you think there's what's
I have been waiting all season. I have been waiting all season for Michigan and Harbaugh to cough up one of these games. Why not this one? Minus 23, plus 1,200. Jiminy Christmas.
Yeah, I didn't realize the money line was that steep.
That's kind of wild. And it's minus 2,400. What's the spread on the bets?
Oh, I
can tell you right now. Yeah.
71% is on Michigan State.
Oh, on Michigan State.
This is a massive number.
That makes me feel a little less.
It's in the Big House at a night game.
Vegas usually doesn't let themselves get took for that much money.
They don't.
You know what I'm saying? That's a lot. That's a lot of bets for a plus 1,200.
Yeah. How many people do you think said, I got him now. I'm sneaking up. Oh boy.
That sounds like a sucker bet to me. Like, watch this. Let's put this line at 23, and let's put the money line at plus 1,200. Yeah, let's put the line at plus 1,200.
As Michigan is, the fact that they are 2-3 to their very clearly little brother. In the last 5 years. But however, Michigan almost choked against Indiana this year. We cannot forget that. But the Big House on a night game. How do we feel? Like legitimately.
The model says minus 21.6. So the play might be just to take Michigan State in the points and not mess around with the money line.
I feel like
although I might just throw $5. I might just throw $5 on the money line and just be I'll take another 60 if this hits. Let's go.
Yeah, I feel like you and I both are going to end up sprinkling.
Michigan State money line is definitely going to be on a lotto parlay or two.
Your parlays are going to be. You can literally make that a 2-leg parlay.
It's going to be like a 3 or 4 leg, and it's going to be some sure things and Michigan State.
And then it's just like minus 1,000, plus 1,200.
Yeah.
Boom. So yeah, I'm going to lean Michigan State.
I'm not leaning Michigan State to win. I'm saying take the points. I'm saying take the points.
Yeah. Last college game. We have a few NFL to wrap up. I know we both work today, but we wanted to make sure we got our picks out to all the beautiful people out there on the internet. Ole Miss minus 2 against Texas A&M under 55.
Is this one in Oxford?
I can tell you. I want to say yes, but I don't want to be wrong.
I think it is.
Hold on. This game is actually it's in College Station. It's a night
Oh,
game.
it's in College Station.
A night game. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. All right.
Yeah. In College Station, night game. You can get on FanDuel, you can get Ole Miss -1.5, and then other places you can get like Texas A&M +2. So it's like not that matters, but Texas A&M 3-2 straight up out of the last 5. Texas A&M out of the last 4, 3-1 ATS.
Yeah. You want to hear something funny?
What?
You know what the model says?
Is it something ridiculous?
I don't know. You tell me. What do you think it says?
After Ole Miss just doing what they did, Texas 8-4 is here to play in College State. Well, it doesn't matter. You said home road doesn't matter, right?
Well, it doesn't. Yeah, the model doesn't take that into account. So you have to make that little 2 or 3 or 4 point adjustment yourself, depending on.
Yes, Ole Miss -7.
Ole Miss -19.8.
Oh Jesus!
So here's the thing, and this is why I say that like I don't like to start using this model until you have some more data. So Ole Miss has like a really bad schedule so far.
Yeah,
like their strength of, they haven't played. If you look at who they beat Kentucky,
Auburn, Vandy, Tulsa.
Yeah, you see what I'm saying? Like Troy, Central Arkansas, Georgia Tech, Tulsa, Kentucky at home, Vanderbilt, Auburn, and then they got blown out by LSU. So they came into this LSU game 7-0, but a questionable 7-0. Didn't Will Levis get hurt in their or no, he got hurt. He got hurt the next week, I think.
Oh, in the game, would Ole Miss play?
Yeah. Or did he get hurt in that game? I don't remember. But anyway,
he got hurt in this game because I thought that they were going to beat South Carolina, but because they didn't have Will Levis, they didn't. Anyway.
Okay. Yeah. So anyway, the schedule for I don't know how to read this number yet. That's why like more data comes in, you get a little bit more information. But this is an A&M team that has, with the exception of how they played against Alabama, they have vastly underperformed. And there's already discussion about, and I'm just going to say this to like feed into, the model doesn't know this stuff, but damn, if the model might not get it right because of this stuff. There are reports of like, so Jimbo Fisher already dismissed 4 true freshmen from the team. And there are some rumblings,
Is it for a reason? Is there?
Yeah, I don't remember what the thing is. I can go pull it up in a second. Let me finish making my point. So, already dismissed 4 true freshmen from the team. On top of that, there's rumblings that like the transfer portal is about to get really, really active for that monster recruiting class that Jimbo Fisher just pulled in. There may or may not very well be like a mutiny underway at Texas A&M, where like, because there's a story that came out this morning in The Athletic talking about Jimbo Fisher's parachute, his $86 million buyout clause, where it's like you can fire him, but you owe it. So he's basically there to stay. And it's one of those things where like,
doesn't even drop off.
And he's an asshole. He's such a dick that like, you can't help, but if things aren't going well, they're all miserable. They're all miserable.
Florida State, bro. I didn't like him at Florida State.
So I could totally see this being a dumpster fire, and Lane Kiffin, after what happened in Baton Rouge, just opens up a can on him and just is relentless.
Okay.
I could see Ole Miss actually like. So I'm heavy on Ole Miss to win this game. I may regret it, but I don't know. I've been pretty good at calling Texas A&M this year. Yeah, I called them losing to Appalachian State. I called them beating Arkansas.
I think they should not have beaten Arkansas. That was so stupid. I'm sorry. They should not have.
Okay, but but Arkansas was favored in that game. Like that was a game where like everybody was picking Arkansas to win that game, and I was like, no, Texas A&M's going to win. They just lost to Appalachian State. Fade that because they're going to come out and they're actually going to play. I called them losing their next game. Who was it? Mississippi State, I think. Then I called them beating the points, and I said, and I'm going to sprinkle a little bit on the yeah, exactly right. I called them at least beating the spread against Alabama and possibly even pulling off the upset.
Dude, you and I were both. I was sweating that money line. I was literally at a wedding. She my girlfriend and I were at a hotel room. She was asleep. I was there, just like sitting in the watching. I was like, "Oh, come on,
bro!" It was so close. It was so close. The only thing closer than that was Ramondre Stevenson not getting an extra yard on Monday Night Football. That would have hit a plus 700 parlay for me and AG. But no, that was that's another story for another day. But yeah, so like I've had a pretty good gauge on Texas A&M so far this year. And it's usually like I'm going against what other people are expecting for what's going to happen. So yeah, I'm kind of heavy on them getting their ass kicked this weekend by Ole Miss.
My question for you though is Texas 8-4. They're 3-4 now. So where are the other 5 wins coming from?
Oh, they're so I was going to say, I'm glad you brought that up, because when you said Texas 8-4 earlier, I almost said not so fast, my friend, because this year they're going to be lucky if they're Texas 6-6.
They're going to be Texas Bowl eligible.
Texas, let's see. So, all right. So if they lose this weekend, I definitely could see them losing to Florida next weekend. They probably go beat Auburn at Auburn. They can beat UMass. And I'm sorry. Wait, shit, my bad. I'm looking at Texas A&M schedule. Wait, that is Texas A&M. Okay, yeah. All right.
Yeah, that's what you're supposed to be looking at.
Yeah, and then they're gonna lose. We're gonna beat them. We're playing them there, but I still like this weekend, Florida and LSU, I could see as all 3 loss. I could see them going 0-4 in the rest of the SEC schedule and only beating UMass. Like I said, it all depends on, we're dealing with college kids. You remember, when you were 18, 19, 20 years old, stupid shit, could get you off your square. Yeah. This is not stupid shit. These kids have invested their future in going to this school to play for this coach, and it is a dumpster fire right now.
Yeah, it's like, it's funny. It's like you think that, like the coach, the season's not going well, they're going to want to play for, but your coach is like, if this is hypothetical, if this is LSU and Coach O looking at this, at where they are right now, like we're winning every freaking game for this guy.
Yeah.
But this is not that vibe. This is not that situation. It appears to be like, which I didn't really fully understand. People have always floated out Jimbo's buyout. I mean, if whatever sort of NIL deals have been on the table, it sounds like they may just be able to afford. Texas might, $86 million might just find its way into the conversation.
Might find some generous donors and boosters.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I'm sure some people with names on the buildings in that campus could find some money to scrap together to buy him out.
Yeah, so here it is. So this is from what was it, the 24th? That was 2 days ago. Monday morning or Monday night at 10:18. This is from Billy Liucci. When it rains, it pours. I've been told at least 3 and perhaps 4 A&M players have been suspended indefinitely by Jimbo Fisher, and it was all true freshmen.
And were these members of that, were these top members of that recruiting class of his, or
So I don't know, but somebody was, the next thing that somebody said was the LSU Barstool account said A&M about to donate half their team to the transfer portal.
Dude, seriously, we'll probably dip in. I know you will. We both of our teams probably will.
We will. That's like we have our whole team, our whole roster right now is a hodgepodge of transfer guys, because we had so many guys. That 2019 national championship team went into the stupid COVID year where it was like the 10-game schedule and all the weird realignment stuff. And we like played Florida twice or something. It was something stupid. Anyway, it was that whole wackiness where Jamar Chase sat out. Terrace Marshall played a couple of games and then sat out the rest of the year. Eric Gilbert transferred, went to you guys. And I think he went to Florida first and then y'all. I don't remember. But anyway, so between the draft with Jefferson and all the other guys leaving and Burrow, obviously, and some of the other Grant Delpit, Jacob Phillips, and all those guys left and went to the draft. Then the next year, a bunch of guys sat out. They ended up getting drafted in the 2021 draft. And then you had a bunch of other guys leave the team to opt out, whatever other crap. O gets fired. You know what I mean? Like last year was a debacle, all that stuff. We came into this recruiting class with like 59 scholarship players or something like that. And with like 20 kids that we actually recruited. So we had like 7 people that we had to go get off the transfer portal after we had already transferred in some guys before the recruiting period. So it's a lot of like our whole secondary is transfers right now. Our starting secondary.
It's for us. It's like I feel like people transfer out of our program more than they transfer in, if we're being completely honest. But that's also a story for another day. Maybe on another show. Who knows?
Yeah, we have guys that we have a lot that have transferred out too. Like we lost some big guys, like Eric Gilbert,
Jermaine Burton, but he's not.
Yeah, Eric Gilbert and Eli Ricks, and Eli Ricks is talking about like he's leaving Alabama and he might be coming back. I don't know. Like it's just there's some wild stuff like that that's happened. So
our biggest one, which is even crazier, is like after winning a national championship, you go to the team that you just beat. Anyway, like I said, story for another time and maybe another show.
Maybe another show. Yeah,
maybe another show. Anyway, there's still some NFL to be had this week.
NFL. It's not SEC NFL. It's just regular NFL.
Yeah, the SEC. Like I said, the story for another show. Maybe.
Yeah. So, what do you like? What do you think here? What do you think here?
Listen, I not hate that the Jets have made me like them because they've made me money this year. Now the Jets are not even a team I dislike because they're just a team I feel bad for on a year-to-year basis. Like I have no problems with the Jets because they're not the Giants. I have problems with the Giants for many other reasons of people that I know and things about that. But without Breece Hall, bringing in James Robinson, I just picked up Michael Carter off the waiver wire for fantasy. I hope that works out. With the Pats losing, I think that I'm assuming if the Pats don't do what they just did, I think this line is looking different. Without Breece Hall, 62% of the bets are on the Pats right now, which makes me feel some sort of way.
Let's go
about the Jets. And what's even makes me feel even better, Pats 5-0 straight up out of the last 5. And this is not the same Jets team that we're used to seeing.
Last 5 against the Jets.
Correct. Pats 5-0 straight up against the Jets out of the last 5, and 4-1 ATS out of the last 5.
Yeah, give me the Jets plus the 2.5, man.
Dude, it's
give me the Jets money line. Give me the Jets money line. I might even throw something on teasing it Jets -3 and get a little bit better payout.
What do you have? Is your
minus 4.5 is my model? Jets
in favor of the Jets.
Yeah. Jets -4.5. Yeah.
I mean, yeah. I mean, they're going to be missing Breece Hall, but I feel like James Robinson is honestly a solid pickup.
Yeah, I mean that's the tackle that they lost is probably a big, or was it a guard? I don't know. Is it lineman? Might be the bigger loss. I mean, I hate losing Breece Hall, but it's harder to go get an offensive lineman to replace somebody like that than it is to go get like a James Robinson. That was a good shrewd move, and it shows. The other thing that I like about it is that if I'm that team, if I'm in that locker room, Breece Hall gets hurt, you don't make a move, we're kind of hanging our heads. We're kind of feeling it. We might go out there and like play, for Breece Hall, because but you can't help but feel a little bit of like damn, man, that was our shot. Like we actually were gonna, we felt good about our chances to make the playoffs. It's gonna be tough without, you know what I'm saying? Like it's just like a different vibe.
Yeah.
When you bring in somebody else, it's like, all right, let's go. We're still the organization is showing a commitment to this year's
winning.
team to
So
winning.
still wanting to win. Like, oh, our main or
Right.
one of our guys got hurt. Well, guess what? We still want to win.
We went and got you.
Yeah, we're still 5-2. The Jets are 5-2, and the Patriots are 3-4.
And the Giants are 6-1. Like, what the
Don't
hell's
even
going
talk
on?
to me about that. I have so many problems with that. Like, it's not even funny. Yeah, without saying a whole lot, I just like, and it's not for any analytical reason. I mean, I try to give myself some analytical reasons to back the way I feel,
Mhm.
but I'll ride till the wheels fall off with the Jets. You know what I
Yeah, no, I
mean?
like it.
They're gonna be a dog every week. It doesn't matter who they're playing and where they're playing and when. They're gonna be a dog because they're the Jets. And the Jets
Mhm.
got a jet, but hopefully they don't do it this week so I can make some money. That's how
Yeah,
I
and
feel.
4.5 is not a small number considering that the over under is 40. So what I do is I take my model and I use the over under as my how I'm going to determine the score and the spread. So that suggests a 22.5 to 18 score, or a
Yeah.
22. No, I'm sorry, a 21.5 to 17 something shit. 22.25 to 18.25, or no, that's still the math still doesn't work. You know what I'm saying? 17.75. Yeah, that's it. That's the number. It's 17.75 to 22.25. That's the number that is suggested by the model. So I don't have it pulled up right now. So I just wrote down the spreads on here.
And then also it sounds like
Flash this up for everybody. Yep, there you. That was all you get to see.
screenshots, everybody, screenshots.
There's no way you could see that.
So Mac Jones went out of the game. Like, I was working during that game. Mac Jones went out. And
Bailey Zappi came in and lit the world on fire
was it
and
an
blew
injury or they just
my under.
yanked him? Was it
No,
injury?
he threw a horrible pick.
And they just yanked him.
And so they yanked him, and that was it.
But
Bill Belichick said he was going to play some more, that he was not binging him, and that it was going to be like they were going to basically alternate from that point on. He never saw the field again. Well, he saw the field, but he was watching it from the sidelines.
That's what I mean.
Bailey Zappi came in and lit it on fire. Huh?
The Patriots don't trust their starter.
No. Bailey Zappi came in and like lit the world on fire for like 2 possessions. And blew up my under because I had the under in that game. And then from that point on, he just proceeded to give the ball to the Bears every other possession.
This is a really stupid take, and it's obviously not the same thing. But tinfoil, and I don't know. This is like, there was a Patriots quarterback. I believe his name was Drew Bledsoe. That just got hurt. Guy came in and just the rest was history, right? Drew Bledsoe was the guy, the starter, and then this other guy just came in and the rest was history. Now, obviously,
you probably don't remember this because you're too young, but ESPN had this old, it was like Sports Center University or something like that, where they had these promos where they pretend like there was a college. And all these people were going there to learn how to be on Sports Center. And like Chris Berman was teaching a nicknames class or whatever. And so that all these people were coming like, Mike Singletary sounds like dysentery. And it's like, no, that's terrible. Try again. And all that stuff. And this one kid goes, Drew, because you know how Chris Berman has his things where he has like these little nicknames for people. It was like
the sound effects and all that. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, but he would do like, one was Jim DeShays used to pitch for the Astros. He called him Jim Two Silhouettes on DeShays because there's a song called Two Silhouettes on the Shades. Anyway, so he would do these kind of Kevin Smallmouth Bass, all this kind of crap. Well, this kid goes, Drew bled so much he needed a transfusion, and then like a few years later, Drew bled so much he needed a transfusion.
Oh, Gio!
And I was just like, bro, this is like not cool. Like, and from the blood of Drew Bledsoe was born Tom Brady. So
this is also a conversation for a different show.
So it's I don't know.
I mean,
maybe Bailey Zappi is the beneficiary of the human sacrifice that was Mac Jones.
Oh, jeez.
Because that was ugly. It was horrible. Like he looked so bad that everybody was talking about like he's not gonna. There's no way he's putting him back in for the next series. Sure enough, Bailey Zappi was in.
Well, if anybody could do it with a guy like Bailey Zappi, it's freaking Bill Belichick. Let's be very
except
clear.
that he can't. That's why they lost by 3 touchdowns. It was because Zappi came in and looked like crap too. He looked good for 2 possessions, and then it was terrible after that. I'd have to go look at the numbers, but it was ugly. He turned the ball over left and right, and they couldn't get it done. Anyway, let's move on.
I do want to shoehorn one game in that I don't have a little banner for because we were kind of texting about it. We'll talk about it real quick. The fact that Matt Ryan has been benched in Indianapolis and Sam Eilinger is the named the starter by Coach Frank Reich. This game is in Indy. It's a 4:30 game against the Washington Commanders. 67% of the bets are on the Commanders. Over under is 39 and a half. Your thoughts? I don't know. Like I said, my brother's a Colts fan, so I watch every Colts game and watch them suffer tremendously and just watch it's like watching the game. It's like there is like whenever they would go open set, my brother would just cover as a face. Matt Ryan, a quarterback, whenever they would go open, my brother would start flipping out. Right. Whenever, and then when they would not run Jonathan Taylor the right way, he'd start flipping out. When you realize that they have that Matt Ryan could not stretch the field for the Indianapolis Colts. And also without Darius Leonard, it's also tough sailing because he's just a game breaker in himself. I just want to know what your thoughts were real quick. As like I said, shoehorning it before we move on. But
don't sleep on Taylor Heineke.
No, you cannot, and I agree.
He played really, really well, and -2.5. -3 for Indianapolis as the Vegas line. Like my model has Washington -2, and that's like including all the data with Carson Wentz in at quarterback and how badly they played in a couple of those weeks, and that ugly game against Chicago on Thursday Night Football, Monday Night Football. What day was that? It's one of those primetime games that sucked ass. It was terrible.
It was Monday night.
A Thursday. I don't remember. Anyway, no, it was Thursday night because they wouldn't have put Chicago back-to-back Monday nights.
Yes.
Taylor Heineke, it's a different offense with him there. And as their receivers continue to get healthy and they get some of those guys back. I don't know, is Dotson I haven't seen if he's back, but
even so though, it's like all of a sudden, Terry McLaurin exists.
Terry McLaurin exists, exactly. Like I saw him like just lighting it up on Sundays.
It's like, Terry McLaurin. Antonio Gibson's getting deep balls all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Like, these really good players on the Commanders.
Somebody's taking a shot at giving them a chance to make a play.
We were texting about this when I saw Heineke was in. I was like, that's it. But like, there's to me, I don't think that Heineke really did anything to lose that job, other than the fact that they paid Carson Wentz enough money to leave Indianapolis. That's literally it.
Yeah.
Because Carson Wentz has the bigger contract.
Maybe they can get something back from Indianapolis to give him back.
I'm pretty sure Indianapolis took Philly's contract too. I'm pretty sure this is still the same. I don't know, but I'm pretty sure this is the contract that followed Wentz from Philly. I'm not positive.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know.
But real quick, so since we're on the subject of quarterbacks, I gotta tell you. So this is the Bailey Zappi thing I was talking about. So he comes in, first 2 possessions, touchdown. New England takes the lead. It looks like, oh shit, like that's it. There went Chicago's chances. This game's over. New England's gonna win. Belichick strikes again. Bailey Zappi, the rest of the game, 2 picks and a sack, fumble lost. Like he turned the ball over 3 times after that. And that was like he came in like late second quarter or mid second quarter, something like that. So I'm just saying, like it's certainly no guarantees with him in New England. But back to Washington and Indianapolis. I'm taking the +3. Give me I'm not taking a money line play on this one, but I will take the points.
I just was curious about what your thoughts were.
Yep.
For this one, plain and simple. I mean, you and I have similar feelings about the side, but we have different reasons why we like it. I'm curious to see. I feel like if I had to guess, I feel like your
Mhm.
model has Atlanta here at a way bigger number than this. If I
No,
had,
it's
if I had to
Atlanta
guess.
-2.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was surprised too, to be honest. And that's the thing. That's what I like about it is because what it does is it does so much to like whittle down to like
Mhm.
the true essence of like how good a team, how good their schedule has actually been. So that then you
Mhm.
can really start to separate like, okay, well, this team's 4-3 and that team's 3-4. But then you find out that the 3-4 team, all things being equal, that 3-4 team probably should have lost 6 games
Yeah.
because of how tough their schedule is. And that 4-3 team actually should have won all 7 because they played their schedules that bad. And
Yeah.
maybe some of those teams look better than they actually are because it hasn't really filtered through. This thing filters through all that nonsense and goes so many iterations deep that it
Yeah.
doesn't get fooled like that. So when it says that Atlanta's only favored by 2 in a game where my first guess was Atlanta -3. The line started off at -6. It's moved to 4.5. I think
And I
that
think there's
line
recency
possibly
bias.
is going to move even closer. I think it might move even tighter because of that. Some of that's because of that recency bias, but I don't know. I kind of wonder. Like, it's possible that I don't disagree with that. Not the recency bias, but with the pick, because I don't know. Like, call me crazy, but I know Robbie Anderson was a cancer on that team. Like, you could see some of the interactions with him and the coaches on the sidelines. They needed to get rid of him. Like, that was addition by
Mhm.
subtraction from the jump. The other part of it is when they traded away Christian McCaffrey, I think everybody expected they're playing Tampa Bay. This is one of the best teams, one of the best the best quarterback in the history of football, and one of the best teams coming into the season, Super Bowl favorite. One of them, one of the
Yeah.
5 or 6 legit Super Bowl favorites. And I think everybody was just like, yeah, this Carolina team's done. They're mailing it in for the rest of the year and everything. And I think everybody else on that roster was like, oh shit, like they just get rid of you.
Yeah.
Like,
That's the oh, they'll
uh,
just if they don't like you, they'll just see you
let's
later.
bow up. Let's bow up and get the
Oh,
shit
so
done.
they didn't
So
like our coach. He's not here anymore.
right.
Yeah.
Our all pro running back is gone. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Like, no one is safe. Holy shit. They might cut me next week.
Yeah, if Christian
Um,
McCaffrey isn't safe, then nobody is safe on that
right,
team.
right. So like from that perspective, now what another completely plausible scenario is that was their bullet. And this week they come out and they're right back to being the Panthers again. But I will say this. This is the craziest part about this. You want to hear something? You want to hear something lunatic crazy right
Of
now?
course.
All right. So check this out. You know who's first in the NFC South right now? The
Of
Tampa Bay Buccaneers at 3-4. You know who's second? The Atlanta Falcons at 3-4.
4.
You know who's third and fourth? The Saints and the Panthers
2 and
at
5.
2-5.
Yeah.
You know who's the only undefeated team in the division in division games? The Carolina Panthers are 2-0.
Oh,
They
in
beat
the
the
division,
Saints
I'm
and they
sorry.
beat the Bucks. So like I'm looking at this and I'm like, man, like I wouldn't be surprised. This is how the NFC South is too. Like it's been like this for its entire existence ever since they split it up into the 4-team divisions.
Yeah.
And made it 4-team divisions per conference. That's how it's been. The South is like whoever's in last place finishes first the next year, and whoever's in first definitely doesn't finish in the top 3 or something. It's crazy. So I'm not saying that Carolina is going to win the division, but I'm saying like I could see them keeping it alive for another week.
Yeah, man. I'm gonna stay with.
I'm staying away. Yeah, I'm staying away from this thing. I don't like
I'm
it.
gonna lean Falcons. I like the Falcons. I'm calling recency bias. That's my personal take.
I would just go Falcons money line if I'm doing anything, just because I feel like they should. I feel like they should win. Yeah, as part of a parlay, I feel like they should win. I just don't
Minus
like
210. It's not a bad parlay booster.
Yeah. But I hate them. But I hate them. I hate touching that game because I really feel like I think Atlanta is one of the more underrated teams in the NFL this year. They've played a lot of really close games, but I can't trust. I don't know. This is just I don't know how to call games when like both of the teams could decide at any moment to just be like, fuck it, let's just go to Cancun. You know what I mean?
Mentally in Mexico.
Yes, exactly.
Mentally not, mentally on vacation somewhere else.
Right.
So Tennessee, Texans. This is somewhat of a rivalry. Am I mistaken?
Yeah, somewhat. I mean, this is hell. The Titans.
Right?
The Titans used to be in Houston.
Yeah, that's right.
They were the Oilers. Yeah,
that's what I thought. Head to head, Titans are 4-1 straight up. 4-1 against the spread. Obviously, where am I at? Tennessee is 4-1 straight up out of their last 5, 4-2 overall. Yeah. How do you feel right now about this game?
All right, so this is probably the craziest one of all the games this week.
Let me guess. So the
spread is 2.5. The spread is 2.5, right? All right.
There's a model like -20 or something.
Minus 11.5.
Okay.
Yeah, the Texans are bad.
The Texans are bad. 1-4-1. There's no reason they should even tie the Colts. Like the Colts pissed that game away into a tie.
And anyway. I think Jacksonville is going to be regretting that loss for the rest of this season.
100%.
When they lost that game, and couldn't even get couldn't even punch it across the goal line, like that was devastating. So, yeah, I mean, I got Tennessee easy pulling off this, whether it's 1.5, 2.5, 3.5. I don't care. I'm take the points. I'm taking the Titans.
Yeah, and I will say to this: the Titans are. One of their best stats is that they are like 97, 98% in the red zone. Or somewhere like they brought it up last week during the Colts is that they for probably one very obvious reason, Derrick Henry, it does help. And 97% and so I listened to a couple podcasts and like one of the things they talked about is that the Titans don't really have a receiver. And I tend to agree. Like they have Robert Woods, and I can't even name another Titans receiver. So like,
no, they got more than. Hang on, let me. It does suck
that I have me being not a Titans fan.
It does suck that I have to look it up though. Yeah, I mean, no, that's
the defense is legit. Bud Dupree is a lunatic.
Yeah, no, their defense is ridiculous. And the thing is, like Tannehill can do enough to like move the ball around and everything. And they like that game last week was really kind of disappointing where they brought Malik Willis in when Tannehill got hurt. Well, Tannehill got hurt for like a minute. And they brought Willis in and they didn't let him do anything. And then they left him out on the field and they like tried to pitch it to him coming around the end and Tannehill like botched it. He like got stepped on as he was turning around. He like threw it into him and like the handoff was very anyway, they fumbled the ball away and that was it. Malik Willis goes back to the sideline. It's like, well, why the hell did you do that in the first place? But they still pulled off the win, but they made it ugly in the process.
Yeah. My feelings here is I feel like the Titans -2.5 isn't too much to think about. And also like one of my favorite
which means it's probably going to look like the Buccaneers this past week and Green Bay against the Jets or some shit. Like it's like what the hell's going on with the NFL this year? There's always some stupid game that makes no sense whatsoever.
Dude, the NFL is just like there's just something about the league where it's just like nothing is guaranteed. Nothing it's like the middle of the pack teams are just like better. I feel like there's not too many teams that are like not as many teams that are so far and away from everybody else. Like, like I just feel like it's more wide open in the middle of the pack.
Trying to find this.
My favorite bet, like on a weekly basis, is quarterbacks to run in touchdowns. And in a game like this, Ryan Tannehill is a prime candidate.
Yeah, so I'm gonna show you this real quick. See if you can see it. This is Benny Cunningham. This is a tweet from he got his account suspended right after this. The NFL is rigged. I'll read it for you. It
Yeah.
says the NFL is scripted, but they make us sign something so we can't go into detail. Tired of holding back. Who wants the full story?
Oh,
After that, Twitter account deleted. Like
Jesus.
suspended. He got permanently suspended. That was
Well,
it. That's it. So it's like, so I mean, I'm just saying, I'm not saying anything. I'm just saying that's an interesting tweet from Benny Cunningham, isn't it?
yeah, it is a very interesting tweet.
Go to the Men of Order Sports YouTube and look at my episode that I did previewing the Week 1 Monday night matchup between the Denver Broncos and the Seattle Seahawks, and try to remember what the expectation was for Denver and what the expectation was for Seattle coming into the season, and then watch that episode and see how I break it down, and you'll see how like that tweet from Benny Cunningham does not surprise me. I'll just say that much.
Yeah. But do you still like the Titans here?
Yeah, I do. I don't, unless I can see a reason and a path. Like if this was a Monday night game and they were playing in Houston on Monday night, and it was like they're finally giving some backup quarterback the starting job or something like that, and he's a rookie, I'd be like, oh, okay, this is the setup. This is the one. But those things what typically happens, and as I outlined in that conspiracy theory video that I did for Week 1, what it generally is it's somebody who's had a long time in between Monday night hostings. They're hosting Monday Night Football for the first time in however many years. It's a big deal. They're terrible, and they're like starting a new quarterback, a backup quarterback, somebody, the starter got hurt, whatever the case may be. Like this week, it would be like, the Colts would be hosting Monday Night Football or something crazy like that. And they're playing against, I don't know, the Chiefs or something where it's like, the Chiefs are favored by 11, but they're playing on the road. What happens? Travis Kelce fumbles the ball after he, catches a little dunk, in his own red zone. And then, look at that. Clyde Edwards-Helaire fumbles, and Patrick Mahomes throws one off of a lineman's helmet. It bounces straight up into the air. Somebody picks it off and runs it in for a touchdown. Next thing you know, Kansas City's down 17-0 in the second quarter. And you're like, what the fuck? Is Kansas City even going to be able to pull this off? They come back and they squeak out like a 3-point win, but they don't cover that 11.5, do they? That's the shit that I'm talking about. That's the scripted stuff that's weird. And like, it's like, yo, this is crazy. This one doesn't match that setup. So I'm taking, I can't see a reason to say this is the one that looks stupid like like a couple of Packers games recently and a couple of Buccaneers games recently. But it is weird. I'll say that much. But no, that's. I think this one should be easy money. But
one more. This is it. I've held you hostage long enough on this YouTube
all
channel.
Good, man. It's all good, man.
Seattle -3. So that's another thing. Is this the one where the 6-1 New York Giants finally get what they deserve? Or what's the setup here? Because this is a 4:30 afternoon game, so it's not in the prime time eye. It's excuse me, it's in Seattle.
At Seattle, yep.
At Seattle, so that's New York already having to travel across into Washington.
I will say this: West Coast travel is easier than East Coast travel. If I'm the Rams flying across to, Buffalo in Week 1, that's one thing. Buffalo flying to LA for Week 1, I don't think they had any trouble. Do you think they had any trouble with the Rams?
Well,
So that's my the West Coast thing can be tough if you have to flip around and go back to the East Coast or something, or if you stay out there for a while. Yeah. But no, I think it's I think it's a good setup, and my model actually has the Giants -8 for this. So
yeah, the
as
Giants,
good as Seattle has looked, they've done it against some pretty shitty competition. If you really are frank about it and think about it,
the Giants are 4-0 against the spread as the underdog. Seattle's 0-1 as the favorite. Seattle's 2-1 at home against the spread. Giants are 2-0 away.
That's good stuff.
Yeah.
So you want to hear the Giants' schedule so far, and not to say that this is an outstanding schedule, but there's some tough games. So they had Tennessee Week 1, Carolina not too tough, Dallas And granted, that was with Cooper Rush at quarterback, but still, that was that Dallas defense came to play that night. You remember we were watching that one closely. Chicago, not a tough one there. At Green Bay, Baltimore, and then at Jacksonville this past week. You contrast that to the Seahawks. Now, I'm not saying that was like a juggernaut schedule, but there's 4 or 5 solid tough games on there. Look at this schedule. So Denver and San Fran to start off. That's not bad. Then Atlanta, Detroit, New Orleans, Arizona, and then they finished up with the Chargers. Now, they looked impressive against the Chargers. Don't get me wrong. But I don't know. It's just there's a lot of this stuff where it's like, which one of these teams is for real, and what are we really seeing here? And those 3 losses, they got blown out by San Francisco. They lost to Atlanta, and they lost to the Saints and the Saints pretty much controlled that game. So at least in the second half they did. So I don't know. I think if the model's telling me Giants -8, I'm taking the Giants plus the 3 for sure.
I'm just
riding the train.
I can't. There's a lot of things in me that don't want me to really take a side here. Mainly just because of like the Geno Smith. What is he going to do? What is Daniel Jones going to do this week? What is Saquon Barkley going to do this week?
Yeah.
It's, to me, there's a lot of factors there, none of which I like. So like you say, one of the wisest decisions in betting is to just not do it sometimes.
Yeah.
It's to let me just keep some of those dollars right there in the old pocket and say, maybe put some more in another game. That's my full opinion.
Well, I will say, like, whenever I see something where it's flipped like this, it's usually I'll go through the games that have. So since I've only really done this for week 6 and 7, is that where we're going into week 8, right?
Yep.
All right, yeah. So week 6 and 7, I did this, and oh shoot, no, I only did this part where I actually looked at what the model line was versus what the Vegas line was. All right, so the ones where it actually flipped, you have there we go. So the Vegas line is Jacksonville -3. The model line was Giants -7. Who won that game? All right. Let's see. The Vegas line was Denver -1. The model line was Jets -6.5. Who won that game? God, this is crazy. Yo, the Vegas line was New England -8. The model said Chicago -0.5 point.
Oh,
who won that game?
Bears. Bear down.
So I'm just saying, when it counters the Vegas line so far, it's 3-0, picking straight up winners. Straight up winners. So you gonna take 3 points? Yeah, I'll take 3 points.
Well, see, when you put it like that,
I'm just saying,
put it like that.
Past performance is no guarantee of future results, but it's could be a good indicator.
We all got to do something, right?
That's right.
But what everybody really, really needs to do is make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. We are just about to hit 200. We're one away. Whoever wants to be lucky 200, by all means. Chad, I hope you're subscribed.
I am. I have to send it out to everybody and get them see who can be lucky number 200 and get 200. I don't know, Cheetos.
There you go, Cheetos.
Individual Cheetos.
Individual Cheetos. We'll have Keith pack them up and mail them to you. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Pickin Winners, and obviously check out blogs on the website, and obviously check out Men of Order and Chad, whose Twitter is right there next to his name and in the description below. We appreciate everybody who stopped by, everybody who will listen to this. Make sure to check us out. If you're listening on Spotify, we appreciate the love there too. YouTube doesn't matter. We appreciate the love all around. Hope that everybody has a happy, healthy, and safe weekend of gambling. We out.
Peace.